This morning on BRN, what you need to know about getting homeowners insurance. Joining me now to discuss this is Michael O'Connor of AssuredPartners. Mike, so great to see you. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us in the program this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeffrey. Great to see you as always.
It's always great. Tell me, maybe when spring training starts, we can actually have you back on and talk a little baseball. That probably would be fun to get your perspective. But in any event, wanted to touch base with you and talk about homeowners insurance, given all the things that have gone on this year and last year with North Carolina and the hurricanes, Florida, the LA fires. What's a good rule of thumb in terms of finding homeowners insurance, regardless of where you live?
Sure. I mean, it's definitely been a tough time for our industry. I mean, my thoughts and prayers to all the people that are dealing with all the stuff in California right now. I mean, it's a terrible situation. As far as finding insurance, I mean, it is a tough market. There's carriers that are still writing business, but it is harder and it's more restrictive and there's more questions to it. I mean, we have plenty of markets that will still write in any market, but it is definitely a more restrictive process, and you're going to have to give up more information in order to get the best rates.
And Mike, is my understanding correct that if you have a mortgage, you do need to get some level of homeowners insurance? Is that correct, regardless of whether you're in the District of Columbia or North Carolina or Maryland or California?
That is correct, Jeff. And yeah, if you have a mortgage on your home or property, you are going to be required to have homeowners insurance. Even with folks that don't have a mortgage, I do think it is, good risk management, as a lot of folks are relying on the equity in their home as part of their retirement plan. So I think, insurance is an important part, if something terrible does happen, that you do have some recourse to recover from that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, as you mentioned earlier, thoughts and prayers to those in California and North Carolina, Florida. Many people lost their homes that have been in their families for so many years. Mike, in general, does homeowners insurance include damage for flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, some of the weather events that people can experience?
Sure, yeah. There's definitely restrictions to policies. I mean, all homeowners policies are going to exclude flood and earthquake. Depending on where you are, Florida, you may have to buy a separate wind policy. So I think you have to be aware of what that is. I think a lot of times, some people are purchasing insurance directly, and it's a confusing industry for a lot of folks. It's not always as transparent. I mean, that's our job as an independent agent, to help people understand the policies that they're buying and the risks that they might be self-insuring, like flood and earthquake.
Yeah, I mean that certainly it's important, and that's where someone of your expertise. I mean, I come from the retirement industry, as you know, and the audience knows. That industry has a lot of jargon too. It's really hard to unpack and understand all the nuances, all the fees. You probably, if you're not familiar, you probably do need to hire somebody to help walk through and get many bids, right, Michael, to find the best deal possible. It's not just the cheapest, Mike. It's also what's going to bring the best value for the customer.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I mean, I think the unfortunate thing with the insurance industry is how it's marketed based on just price.
Yeah.
Not all policies are the same, and if you're not getting certain coverages, there's a reason why. A lot of times, there's a reason why there's lower cost options, as they're being more restrictive with certain limits and things. So, I think it's for the consumer, just being aware of what they're purchasing. And, if something does happen, you want to make sure you're most likely to have coverage versus having some, bare bones type policy that is low cost. But if something happens, you might not be in a good spot with that.
Yeah, you want to be able to put in a claim and actually have the claim processed and have someone, hearing stories of adjusters not being able to come out and look at a home and provide cutting it, maybe not cutting a check there, but cutting a check, et cetera. Mike, after earlier on in our discussion, you talked about that there are some carriers that are still writing business in some of these heavily, I'm going to call them risky areas, so they're subject to wind and rain and floods, et cetera. But you said that you may have to disclose more information. What does that look like? I mean, are they asking for, your birth certificate and social security number? What kind of information would you need to give up?
Yeah, so I mean, just example, I mean, we work a lot in Florida. You would need to have a mitigation certificate, an elevation certificate, and a 4-point inspection done. So those are just additional things you need to get in order to get approval or to get the best rate. So it's just an additional step in the process. So sometimes people are like, oh, why do I hadn't had to do this in the past.
Hmm.
But this insurance market has changed a lot. Carriers have gotten hit hard by, inflation, increased construction cost, and just an increase in the amount of natural disasters going on across the country. So they are asking for, more information they have in the past.
And eerily similar, Mike, to car insurance, right? I mean, the cost to repair a car, not that you're in that business, but the cost to repair a car has gone up. Labor costs have increased, trying to get parts, all those things. That adds to what the insurance company probably factors in. It's probably like they've got really smart people that do that, but that's probably what factors into their pricing.
Definitely. I mean, we do also offer auto insurance. I mean, typically most of our clients are bundling their home and auto as you get, better rates for that. But
Hmm.
yeah, the cost to repair vehicles has gone up. I mean, just with the amount of, sensors and cameras and things like that and how the cars are built now, the cost to repair a vehicle has gone up significantly.
Uh, Mike, is homeowners insurance something that you should look at once a year? So even if you buy a policy through someone like yourself, is it incumbent upon you as the customer and working with someone like you to review the policy on a regular basis? Because as you said, it's a dynamic industry, it's always changing, and there could be better opportunities out there. So should you look at this at least annually, since it's January, February?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a case by case question. I mean, if you're getting, 20% increase, we're seeing that kind of across the board. If you're getting, above that, I mean, there's certain markets where you're seeing 100% or 200% increases. I mean, I think that's a place where people are definitely going to look to other options. Maybe they find something, maybe they don't. But, I think with the type of increases people are seeing, and then, sometimes carriers are asking to remove, wind coverage or other things from policies. So there is a lot of issues going on. I mean, we do get a lot of calls when people are having issues from having claims or things like that. So, it does create opportunity for us, but it can be difficult to find a solution for some of these.
Do you think, Mike, that some of these challenges, getting coverage, do you think that is it still worth being a homeowner? I mean, we were talking earlier about this is probably your biggest asset, and so it becomes part of the retirement plan. But with all these kind of hoops you have to jump through, are you seeing customers say, I want to sell my home and I'm going to move into a condo or an apartment or something, and maybe downsize a little bit?
My opinion, I mean, I think owning a home is a great thing, the stability and, money you can build in that. But yeah, I mean, I think certain areas, I think people are going to, have to think longer and harder. Is this going to make sense? Am I going to, are we going to deal with issues with storms? Are we going to have, wildfire issues, being in certain higher risk areas? Um, so yeah, I think that's, a decision people are going to have to make for themselves if they want, to live in South Florida or in, LA after all the issues they've dealt with. So, I mean, I definitely understand the upside with weather and things living in those areas, but some of the downside with those areas as far as, insurance costs and, increased costs to live in those areas, it's definitely something people need to think about.
Yeah, and you got to budget for it. I guess it's one of these things, Mike, that you just have to bake into your budget and be able to afford a home. It goes beyond just putting a roof on the house or mowing the front lawn and doing all those other types of things for your home. Mike, we're going to have to leave it there. Great to see you as always, and look, we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse, for all the news in one place. Details, of course, at our website. And we're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.